Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matthew McCorrow. I'm your host for today's event. I'm excited to bring to you a look inside of the portfolios of many of the top investors in the space. We like to call them the Titan investors. I'm also going to share with you some insights that I think are timely for what's occurring in the marketplace today and really over the last several weeks, and for some, it may say the whole beginning of 2022. And I think it's always important to always focus on what we can control at this point. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But I do want to welcome everybody. We do appreciate the time that you're taking to join us today. Time is the one commodity in life that we never get back. And I do appreciate spending the next hour or so with you all today. Now, I just want to do a simple audio and video check to make sure that everything's working optimally. So at this point, we're just doing a simple sound check. You should simply be able to hear me clearly and see a slide in front of me that says sound check. Now the control panel is broken up into two parts. Top half is audio. I recommend you have it on computer audio if you can. The bottom half is the question section. So if you can hear me in the room, please go ahead and move your mouse over into your question section, your little box, and then type in a note, say hello, happy Thursday, almost Friday, right? And then I'll see your responses on my end. I will tell you that the question section is private. No one in the room can see your comments except for you and, of course, us on our end. So rest at ease. Any question is a great question. The only bad question is the one you leave with, so please don't do that. That's why I'm live with you. This is not pre-recorded, so I want to make sure that we can really address any questions as they come up. I've got a hello, okay. Thank you, Walton. Appreciate it. Hey, Claude, good to see you. Yeah, so it looks like I recognize a lot of names here, so good to see you again. For those that I haven't met yet, I appreciate meeting you, and it's my pleasure. And I do look forward to working with you here throughout this next hour. Okay, so it looks like we've got some more people chiming in. So we've got a hello coming in. Now, if you've got a trader as your name or a member as your name, I appreciate that. But if you want a personal shout out, I don't have your name except for what it displays in the chat box. So if you want, just type in your first name if you'd like. All right, perfect. So if you can't hear, I don't have my little sign that says turn the volume up. Most of the time, if you're here, it's an audio volume situation where you can fix it just by turning volume, but you can't hear me, but I like it. So happy it's Thursday. That's a good one, Jason. I'm going to take that one. Yep. I like that. All right. So looks like, oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for that comment. It says, great show the other day. Glad to see you back. Yep. My pleasure. All right, so I always just like to wait a few minutes, but it looks like we've got the sound check done, so we're all good, and no issues I see on anybody's audio and video, so I'm going to roll my sleeves up, and let's get into it. Okay, what we're talking about today is how to leverage a new set of data. Okay, so what I want you to imagine is if you've been trading the markets, a lot of people think about the markets in terms of what's happening on the top market. Today is obviously a unique day. This type of day is not normally seen in the markets. The last time we had an incident like this was literally when we, in the United States at least, made a decision to shut down the economy with the 14 days or 15 days to flatten the curve. I can't remember if it was 14 days or 15 days. And then obviously we saw a massive sell-off occur after that. So unfortunately, there's times where this happens, and it's all about, to me, the outlook. Are we going to be opportunistic? Are we going to be pessimistic in views? Now, I want to try to disconnect. My heart goes out to everybody impacted directly at this point with what's going on in Eastern Europe today and starting really early this morning. I'm going to try to remove that subjectiveness, some of the emotion that people are experiencing around the world, and try to focus on being objective as much as possible. That's how I like to trade in general. So if you see me trade some of my various strategies and programs out there, then you know I prefer to be on the math, M-A-T-H, the math side of trading versus trying to decipher what's going on in the heads of people around the world. Okay, so that's what I hope we can try to disconnect for this next hour, is just disconnect that subjective side and really walk through how we can manage ourselves through this process, okay, through objective means. So in front of you on the screen now, just to give you a quick summary of the intent of today. It's the Titan Investors Club. Effectively, what we've done is we've put massive research around uncovering where much of the investments are found amongst the top 21 mutual funds, private equity investors, and here's some of them on the screen here. Some of you probably heard of Bill Ackman, and everyone's got to have a different understanding of who these people are. Charles Poll is one of the largest hedge funds out there with Dodge and Cox. Then we also have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We have Carl Icahn, which is, many people have heard that name before, and there's many more that you're going to learn. What's interesting about this club is that they make up nearly $1 trillion with a T in all of their assets that they manage. So $1 trillion. That's a big drop in the bucket. You could say that's a splash. That may be looked at as a tsunami in the bucket, but that's a lot of money. And if you're familiar with money flow or momentum, trading volume, and how it impacts price action, then you know that is a big area of focus, okay? So what we walk away with is an ability to see what they're trading, when they're trading, and how they're trading it, down to the individual stock symbol, the individual investment size. And for me, there's two ways to actually take advantage of this type of data. There's the more active side, meaning I see a huge spike of volume around a specific symbol, a stock, I can follow their lead and actually jump right in and follow their trade. The other way is to actually build and manage a portfolio to mirror and match what your favorite Titan investor is doing, or you can combine different Titans into a portfolio of your own. You can go actively, you can go more passive long-term, or you can combine both together. Okay, so it's all about, for us, providing data and insights to help you understand what's happening in a broader base investment class, such as these Titans. So that's in summary what the club is. But as promised, I want to really try to walk you through some of the mindsets here of how these investors are looking at the conditions today. And to do so, I'm going to leverage some of our data found and research in one of my favorite aspects of this program, and I'm going to share that with you now. So I just wanted to make sure everyone understood what to expect. We're going to be able to see the portfolios of these Titans in just a few moments. So rest at ease there. We're going to jump into that. But what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about one of the secrets that we've uncovered. So my team here has spent hours and hours and hours of research pulling from the top investors in the space all of their tips and tricks. This is my favorite of the 5 different reports that we have now. We've got another 17 being produced right now to roll out. But this is one of my favorites. This is titled The 39 Investing Secrets of the Titans of Our Day. For me, I like things to be easy to consume, easy to understand, easy to apply. So I like bite-sized pieces. And so this is one of the smaller reports, but it's jam-packed full of amazing content. So what we're going to talk about for the big lessons of the day, I think, and probably over the next week or so, is going to be uncovering one of these secrets here. And I think it's going to be really relevant, and you'll get it as soon as I pull it up. So the concept is around Titan secret number 6. And remember, I want to try to remove the subjectiveness from the mind right now. There's a lot of fear in the market. It's clear when you have such a strong bearish start to the day. So that's a lot of fear, and we want to try to remove that emotion from this conversation right now for a moment. So Titan secret number 6, expect and plan for market declines to occur. These aren't my words. These are the words of those amazing Titans that I showed you earlier today. So the question, are Titans flustered by market decline, even unexpected ones? The answer is no. Titans understand that stock markets declines happened before and will happen in the future. Titans understand that fluctuations and even severe downturns are buying opportunities. They understand that they are a natural part of the market cycle. Therefore, they build them into their portfolio, planning with their reasonable cyclical projections of their portfolios about when the best time to buy will be. And I love this stat because it really helps a lot of retail traders wrap their heads around the fact that the markets don't always go up. And being in a bullish market for well over a decade now, it's trading in a bearish market, if you're familiar or more accustomed or comfortable in a bullish market, is night and day. Okay, so even teaching an uptrend versus a downtrend and the different price levels to look at, flipping around support and resistance levels, in my 15 years of experience, teaching and coaching is always more difficult than trading uptrends, teaching uptrends, okay? But what's interesting here is over the last 100 years, 18 bear markets have shown up. 9 of those 18 have been protracted bear markets with declines of 30% or more. There's been some major crashes, 1929, 1973, as well as 1987. And then, of course, we had a recent one here with COVID, with the COVID initial shutdown, right? But what happened after COVID? After we hit the bottom, right? We went back into a massive uptrend that not only covered all the 100% of that drawdown that was experienced, but also has grown above and beyond that price level, okay? So I was coaching during that event, during that shutdown. I was in live events just like this one now, teaching, and we were trading, and we were looking for opportunities to get into the market and capitalize on the bearish downswing. I was there when we had the markets take a timeout, right? When there's a certain percentage drop in a day, right? The S&P goes on a break, goes on a 15-minute break. The markets shut down. They pause trading. If it goes beyond that, then they'll stop trading for the day, right? I was there live with traders. And as long as we understood which direction we were trading, we understood what was happening. From there, it came down to timing. And so once we established the bottoms, which I'm going to show you how insightful and how oftentimes when we see bottoms in the market, they're caused by, and not only caused, I would say they are shown by when and where these Titans invest heavily. So I'm going to show you that in the charts in a moment here. But I just want to set the tone here that this is setting up to be a buying opportunities. It may not be yet this moment, but there's an intrinsic value and there's extrinsic value, right? And so ultimately, the value of the company, based on what's happening in Eastern Europe, the value of a company like Facebook, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, there's so many fantastic, huge multinational corporations that the value has not changed. We're having a disconnect between the value of a company. So what happens is that extrinsic value is pushing that price down, fear-based, and it's disconnected from the value proposition. So if a stock has value at $400, you have this weight of the bearish fear push down that value that's disconnected from the value of that company. It's not like this company is doing bad business, that they don't offer great products, right? All that's happening is there's a fear-based selling happening. Well, the value still hasn't changed. So when you used to be able to buy that value at 400, but this value that is not impacted by that company has been pushed down, now it's $200. Is it still a $400 value? Yes. but I'm able to now buy it on discount. All right, you'll hear that a lot inside of the Titans. They say that term a lot. Buying on a discount. Buying, another term is undervalued. Okay, so though it's not pleasant, I get it. I'm a trader. It's not pleasant to see red in the markets, but I'm optimistic because I understand pattern market flow. I understand that this will stop. This too will end. And when it ends is where we want to be. That's where I want to be. That's where you find all of those huge success stories found, is when, oh my gosh, I bought this stock at 10 bucks, now it's worth 100 bucks. Right? That type of trading exists. It exists, happens almost every day in the market. You may not know it, you may not see them happen. Most times you see it after it happened. Okay, so the intent of this, and the reason this is timely, is because Titans understand that the stock market's declines happened before and will happen in the future. We didn't expect COVID to come, but the market shut down. We shut down the economy, market fell, right? Found a bottom. Then you started to see that price get back up to that intrinsic value of that company once again, right? And so I'll show you on a chart in a second, but it comes back, right? This is not the first time something has happened like that. Unfortunately, today is not the first time today has happened either, right? This type of pattern, this type of unexpected move has happened before. And over the 100 years, there's only been 18 bear markets in 100 years, okay? So this is prime time buying opportunities that are on the horizon. I would say on the near horizon. And so we're going to talk about that. So I'm not going to be the guess. I'm not going to play the guessing game. I'm going to follow and mirror what some of the top Titan investors are. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now, but I just want to set that tone. Lots of good comments coming in. Yeah, I know, I get it. Managing trades today. Yep, money's got to love red days. That's right. That's really what it comes down to. Great comment. All right, so let's actually jump over, and what I want to do is get a sense and really talk through this. Now, this is just one piece of the component. So to get an understanding of the Titans in their portfolios, all right? So inside of here, we're going to jump down and actually take a look inside of the Titans. And so to do that, I'm going to also at the same time pull up charts. I use TradingView. You don't have to have a paid account. You can use, the free account. But I've used it for forever, and it's simple and easy. So, but if you have a different charting software, it doesn't matter. It's not about the software. In fact, you don't really need to have software. You can get by with the broker's charts that come with your account, okay? So when we're talking about these bottoms that occur, I'm going to pull up, let's just pull up the S&P for a second. So here's the S&P, and it is coming off this huge gap open down here. So when you talk about bear markets and corrections, there's actually a defined calculation for that. So we opened the day down 14% off our last previous high in January. Since then, we rallied up a little bit, but that's normal after a big gap down to test this gap here, to test that middle. But I'm not really worried about this moment, because as we take a look, this is what I was referring to back here. So when we look back here on this previous price period, so this was February 19th. I was in sessions this whole time as the market finally found a level of support. Okay, so this is going back from February, middle of February, all the way down to the supreme low of March 2020. Okay, so I'm gonna highlight that for a moment with the little simple horizontal line here. Now, where the market's been, the market will go again. It's a classic price action law of statistics that occurs throughout the marketplace. Many retail traders that were here get a sense of the unknown because they don't know where the bottom is going to be found, right? As I just showed with the one of the 39 secrets that we follow and teach, the market's going to be bearish at some point, right? Really finding and connecting opportunities between undervalued to the actual value. So we teach formulas. We actually give you the Titans formula for how they map it out. Some of the formulas of the Titans are, 10 rows of formulas, right? So if you want to be just like them, we give it all to you so you can see exactly how the Titans lay out and evaluate all of their key fundamentals, right? So it's pretty interesting to see. We found support levels, and it wasn't just random. If you go back here, we found support based upon this previous resistance in 2016. Okay, so we finally found this correlating resistance here of the past turns into future support here. So that's a huge bottom to be found, right? Imagine if you had the foresight and the ability to see Titans massively start to invest in core, well-known market brands in the hundreds of millions of dollars in March. If you start to see a rush of Titan investments, a portfolio building in the month of March 2020, right? These gentlemen manage billions and billions and billions of dollars, up to $1 trillion when you add them all up together. If you saw a rush of them coming into the marketplace, what starts to happen is you start to get bottoms created by massive volumes in the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on days on a specific stock symbol. That insight is this type of trading that I'm discussing. If you've seen me before in different programs, I leverage momentum. I also leverage what I call the top-down investment strategy concept, right? Where we're looking at what's happening in the greater indexes. We'll look at the S&P 500. We'll analyze the NASDAQ. We'll analyze the Russell 2K, the Dow Industrial Average, and we'll get an overall trend perspective and a forecast over the next few days. Okay, I do that every single week so we understand the game plan. Then from there, we'll drill down into sectors. So then we'll look at sectors. I've got a list about 25 sectors, ETFs that are ETF related sectors. So I can then funnel down and look for niches or areas in the market that are prone to break out more than others, right? Technology has been super bearish. Healthcare has been super bearish. What's been bullish? Energy stocks have been bullish. Energy, oil and production has been very bullish. GDX, which is gold miner stocks, has been bullish over the last several days, right? We try to find and isolate specific areas to focus our attention on. It's essentially a filter process, cutting through the thousands and thousands of stocks in the market to find those one or two gems, right? We want to uncover those gems that could break out in the near term, right? Like the next day or so. So if you understand that concept of what I just described, how many of you understand that concept? Overall market, drill down and find sectors, related stocks. Type in a yes if that's making sense. It's a top-down strategy. All I'm doing is leveraging a bucketing opportunity, right? So we have a overall big bucket, right, which is the overall market as a whole. But then if you break up that bucket into smaller buckets, they're known as sectors, okay? Energy, finance, utilities, could be transportation sectors, could be consumer staples, right? Consumer non-durables, right? Those are sectors in the market. They're just little pieces of the pie, right? The greater overall pie chopped up into pieces, okay? So now imagine having another way to filter. The filter process is sifting through thousands and thousands of rows of data, analyzing and pulling out large investments from not only one Titan, but all of the Titans of investing. And then when we see overlap and carryover, where we've got multiple Titans increasing their investment into 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 stock symbols, that's another filter. Because what we're doing is we're leveraging their team. These hedge funds have millions of dollars put into research, into their team, right? Into all the latest technology so they can stay on top of their funds, right? They've got an obligation to their investors, right, to bring returns. So with that, they set aside massive investments to keep up the engine. So imagine as a retail trader, we don't have to invest that type of money, nowhere near that type of money. And we can get the output, right? So we skip all the production, all the manufacturing that these hedge fund and investors go through, and we get the output, okay? That's what we're going to be looking at. So I just want to explain the concept of filtering by these buckets. Now we can reverse engineer it, but I'm going to show you that in a second. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the Titans, and I want you all to tell me, I'm going to show you a list of Titans. Tell me which Titan you want to see. We're going to dive into their actual portfolio, okay? So let's pull up the library. We also have Warren Buffett if you want to see his. Sir John Templeton too. That's in another section. So here's the list. We've got Charles Pohl, Dodge and Cox. We've got Bill Ackman. Maybe you're familiar with him, but we can look at any of these. So type in the number that's next to the Titan that you want to dive further into. So go ahead and type that in, and we'll just look at whatever has the most votes. We'll do a informal poll. You know, what a year it's been, right? Great volatility in the marketplace because we also have midterm elections coming up. That's always creates volatility. So I've got requests from Hard Marks. I've got requests for Bill Nygren. Let's see, we've got Bill Ackman. How about the rest of you? And you can actually take screenshots if you want. Take it with you, okay? All right, perfect. So we're gonna go, so we'll actually do, lots for number 3 for Bill Ackman. So we'll go Bill Ackman, then we'll jump into Bill Nygren, and then we'll jump into Howard Marks. And who knows, if we want to see more, we can see more. So let's check out Bill Ackman. So this view that we're jumping into right now is inside. Imagine looking over the shoulder, right, into their portfolios and their holdings. That's what this is right here. So I'm going to make this larger just so we can see it here. But this is the data of Bill Ackman. Now he doesn't keep a lot in his portfolio. So he currently has 6 assets in the Bill Ackman, which is under Pershing Square Capital. The total portfolio for Bill Ackman is $10.5 billion. That's the total value of his portfolio. So what you see is the actual stock and the mix, the breakup in the diversity of that portfolio, right? So 25% of that 10 billion is in Lowe's. He's got 18% in Hilton, another 18% in Chipotle. He's got another 13% in QSR, restaurant brand. He's got 13% in Howard Hughes, and then he has 11% in Domino's Pizza. So if you want to mirror the portfolio of Bill Ackman, then you can do it right there. That's it. There's the portfolio. Now, to me, that's phenomenal. So I would suggest, and I would, well, not necessarily suggest, but I would have a strong inclination to know that if I'm following Bill, then I'm in a good spot. So if I'm in any of these positions, that's phenomenal. Then give yourself a gold star. And if you're not, you may want to consider, right? We get all of the different data sets here. And then the next step I'm going to share with you is we actually see the activity broken out into quarters. So we can see, because remember, these are investors. They're looking at value, and they're typically evaluating against a method of a simple question. Would you hold this stock 10 years from now? It's a question that they ask themselves as part of the checklist that we provide, is ask yourself, would you hold this stock for 10 years? Is the brand strong enough? Are the fundamentals of that company strong enough that you would hold it for 10 years? That's their level of thinking. Now, they don't hold them necessarily for 10 years, right? But they think long-term on the value of that investment that they make. So to me, simply put, Bill has a very strong sentiment towards these 6 companies for the far future ahead. So what happens though is that as the prices rally, as they decline, you see them reduce positions, right? So they close out portions of that holding or that position, and then you'll also see them add more to their portfolio, and then you'll see them totally sell out of a position. Okay, so you not only see what's happened, where they're at now, but then you also see the ins and outs of how they manage that portfolio. So it's amazing insight. So not much action in the fourth quarter for Bill Ackman, but you can see he reduced his position on Hilton by 2.9 or 291,000 shares. Okay, so you can see he didn't get rid of Hilton, but he reduced the position. So much of the stock market, especially core market known brands, worldwide brands, were bullish, right? Hit some amazing runs and were very profitable at the end of the year. So there's no wonder, because what happened in the first quarter? What happened in the beginning of the year, right? We started to see those highs, and now we've been on a decline, 13%, and the S&P 500 since then. Okay, so I'm going to show you these in the market, but you'll see how they sell at highs and they buy at lows, right? That's what every retail trader's goal is, right? Buy low, sell high. Well, you got to sell on the high, right? That's what we all try to do. So you see the transactions, which to me is amazing. Then you'll see total closure of a position, right? Total sell of an entire position, right? So Agilent in the third quarter sold 100% of his position. Now, what do you think happened after those sells? Type it in the question section. Do you think that stock went up or down? What do you think happened after that transaction? Type it in the question section. What do you think happened? Did it go up or down? Yep, down, right? Yeah, odds are it went down. This is what I find amazing. So this is where, I don't know how to pronounce it. I always mess it up probably, but Agilent Technologies. I don't know. It sounds better than Agilent. So we'll say Agilent Technologies. This is the third quarter of 2021. So 178 range, $180 range here. It's not only what you make, it's also what you save. So something on his formula said it's time to get out. So that is a decline of almost 30% since that sell. So talk about catching a top. He probably had a large portion of the market cap, on a sizable portion of the market cap percentage-wise, and when you sell that much, there's not much that's going to hold it up, right? So when you think about the volume, right, that was 11 million shares, 11.6 million shares. Now, in the third quarter, the average price was around, let's say, $170. That's a massive cash impact to that portfolio, wasn't it, right? It's massive. 11 million shares on $170. That's massive. So it's no wonder the stock has gone down, right? Especially all this near-term move over a few months, right? That's insight. So two ways to look at it. You're in it, and then you see that pop up, you may want to follow Bill Ackman and also unwind. He's done that several times. You can see Starbucks. He offloaded Starbucks in the first quarter. You can see Berkshire moved out of Berkshire Hathaway, which is interesting. Blackstone Group, Park Hotels and Resorts. You can see all of these actions. I mean, you can break it down by buy side, sell side. You can also see how the portfolio has moved and grown or shrank in each period, right? So we look at individual hedge funds in quarters because they don't move a lot in a quarterly basis, right? They're not seeing huge transactions on a day-to-day basis for a large portfolio. But you can see how third quarter, the value at the end of the third quarter, 2021, was 9.46 billion. Well, quarter four, they ended with 10.6 billion. So they added about $1 billion to the portfolio between quarter three, quarter four. All right. You could see the pandemic period, quarter two, 7.75 billion in the second quarter, 2020, versus the end of it, right, 6.57 billion, right? So February 2020 was right in the middle of this quarter, but they actually grew from quarter one to quarter two, right? Quarter two to quarter three to quarter four. So small dip in quarter three, that was probably offloading Agilent technologies, right? But it gave them cash to invest, okay? So that's what's important is, for me, is I love to see where their action is, because they're different. There's overlap, okay? So there's stocks that see ownership across multiple different titans. But to me, that's keen insight. So Bill's got probably the smallest number of stocks in his portfolio. Let's go to the other requests. So let's look at, we'll look at Howard Marks. So that's Oak Tree Capital. So he's got 200 stocks in his portfolio, 200. So we're looking at extremes here, 6 to 200. So he's running about 7 billion in total assets. Now, inside of each one of these modules, you can actually drill down further, and we add various content. So if you want to learn more about Howard Marks' thinking, some of the tactics and strategies, you can come in here and find some great content as well. So Howard Marks, Investing with Caution, Howard Marks on, I like this, distressed investing, how to manage through inflation and higher rates. So I think this is very relevant, right? Very relevant content from Howard Marks. But let's take a look here at his portfolio. Now, we can't break down all 200. That's a lot. So 200 different stock symbols. Talk about being diverse, right? 200 symbols. So I like to start at the top. So this is, once again, the breakdown. So you've got 11% of his portfolio in Chesapeake Energy, Vistra Corp, 9%. You have a transportation company, Starbulk, 8.46, Hertz. Wow. He's in Hertz. PCG, Ally Financial, right? So that's just a few of these. Vail, that's a steel stock. So there's a couple ways I like to look at this. I don't know if any of you noticed, I also like to look at sectors. So when I see, like, CX is in materials, I believe, sector. I've got some Anglo Gold, so that's part of the gold miners sector. You got PBR's energy, Vail's in steel. There's another energy stock up top here, which is the top holding, Chesapeake. I want to know if they're in a sector, right? Remember I talked about the sector drop down, right? That stuff to me is important, right? Lots of activity here. Added to Reservoir, added to Vail. Okay, so when you see this, let me show you some of the charts, okay? I've got a quick question here. How many of you are looking to be active? You're an active trader, meaning you're looking for swing trades versus position trading or long-term trading. Type in that question. I want to get a sense for your goals. I like to be more active personally, but that's my preference. Everyone's going to be a little different, of course. That makes this whole unique. Makes us all humans. All right, so it looks like we've got all the above. I like it. Both from Walton, active, mostly active, swing trading. Okay. My type of people. My type of people. All right, perfect. So let's put up some charts here. I'm going to put them next to each other so we can screen go side by side. All right, perfect. All right, so I've got the charts on the left. So let's go to the top one, Chesapeake Energy. Okay. I'm going to scroll out a little bit here. Okay, let's look at the activity here on Chesapeake, all right? Because what I'm looking for is when we get investments. So here's 62,000 shares. That's fourth quarter, okay? So fourth quarter is going to be, I'm just going to put some markers here so we have a general area here in the market. So fourth quarters, we'll just put it here for a second. Let's see if there's any more. They are very active. Anytime you see these buys, Howard Marks' team is very active. See all these buys? That's new positions, new additions to the portfolio. Okay, when you see adds, okay, that means you're just adding to an existing position. Reduce is reduce. Sell is closing out the entire position. Okay, this dude's got a lot. Let's do it this way. Okay, so what he did, I don't know if you guys saw that. So this CHKEL is when they had a takeover and split up. So they had some bad times, and now they're back to this CHK. Okay, so that's a unique one. But even then, you can see what's happened since this fourth quarter. Now, I'm going to show you to the detail here in a second, down to the day of transactions. Let's go to buys, sells. Let's see the historical move. Oh, man. So, yeah, see, here's the historicals. So I like to see that quarter one because that's that COVID, the last period that we're experiencing today. 2.81 billion in the end of the first quarter, 3.6. The only way this happens is that they are getting back in at those lows that were established. There's the only way it can be done. Another 3.6, 4.6. I mean, small little 500 million drop between 2 and 3. And then from 3 to 4, you see a 1.27 add to the portfolio. Now, the top 20 holdings, this is he has 200, okay, but this is the top 20, and you can see at what point did he own them, how they shifted back and forth, which I love. Let's take a look at the other request, and then we'll jump into what happened yesterday to the day. So let's take a look. We've got, who was the other one? The other request was Howard Marks, Oak Tree Capital. So Oak Tree Capital here, that's the one we looked at. We got to go to the other one. Bill Nygren, there we go. So Bill Nygren's got about 5 billion in his portfolio. You've got additional content down here as well. He also does a lot of stuff on the financial sites as well, news sites. So this is what we got for Bill. 10% of his portfolio, 10.5 is in Google, CBRE, Ally Financial, Netflix, and you can see the activity here, okay? So you want to mirror Bill Nygren, you can do that too. Activity levels, nothing in the fourth quarter. They have to take vacations too, right? I love that. See, to me, this is a lesson in patience. Right? You see a Titan not even have a single transaction in the entire fourth quarter. Something's afoot. They're either really tired and need a long extended break, but imagine they have teams of people that are running all their program services, right? They've got teams of people, some larger than others. And for them to not have anything check their boxes, that's interesting for the fourth quarter. Lots of adding to positions, Humana, EOG, another energy sector stock. Bank, then you have travel with Hilton, right? Then you have several reductions, okay? I won't break this down too much on this one. You guys get the gist of what we use it for. But I love to see the insights of how the portfolio is performed. Same thing here, 3 billion. And they actually grew, 500 million or so, quarter one, quarter two, and then got up to the 5 billion mark of the last 2 quarters. Okay, that's Bill. What you're going to find is overlap. Okay, you're going to find overlap where you see investments from multiple different titans. What I find interesting is when I showed you Bill Ackman, I don't know if you saw it, but he sold 100% of his positions in Berkshire Hathaway. 100% of his positions in Berkshire Hathaway in the second quarter, I believe. But then you go to a group like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and you see the largest portion of their portfolio is in Berkshire Hathaway. So you have a huge fund, this foundation. The fund value is almost $23 billion, and 45% of it is in Berkshire Hathaway. So I don't know, I just find that interesting that they're a fund, but they have such a large portion of their portfolio into that stock symbol. But activity levels also shown here. They have 22 different stock holdings. And then, of course, you can see all their activity. I'm really paying attention to the last period, right? So new positions in Canadian Pacific Railway. That's interesting. So what you'll find with this data set is really 2 types of opportunities based on what I've seen here in the last 18 months of researching and leveraging and running through all the different strategies that we can deploy here with the data, is what I like to describe as 2 types of stocks that we find. We'll find what I describe as takeoff stocks. So these are stocks when you see what they're trading and then you go look at them on a chart, you'll see very little data. Less than 2 years is what I define as a takeoff stock. So that means there's not a lot of history to them, which also means that their fundamentals, what they're offering, their service, if their service is product, something is jumping out to the investors that is telling them that this may be the next 100x stock, okay, 100x growth stock. That is something we teach. It's found. We have a long report, excuse me, a long lesson, I call it a book. It's so long, a book on how to evaluate and find that next 100x stock. You always hear stories about, oh, I wish I was in Amazon when it started. I wish I was in Google, or hey, if you were in Google, right, when it launched. They happen a lot. Okay, you just only hear the big headlines. But I always find it, because I like to be active in the markets. I also like a little bit of that risk excitement where it's, oh, this is something new. Maybe they have something that nobody else offers. And rather than me try to find them, all I'm doing is looking at data and letting them come to me. And all I get to do at that point is look at it and say, okay, I'm with you. Let's go in. Okay, so I'm going to show you what those look like in a second. Then the other type of investment are those established stocks. Okay, so these are more of your household brands that you know. So it's really a nice balance to see these titans go and invest at discounts on major brands, which they're going to be doing here soon, I'm sure, once a bottom's established. And then they also have a level of excitement or risk tolerance that comes into some of these newer stock symbols. So some of these are usually very low price stocks that we can also take advantage of. Okay, but that is what we really look at these. So when I see something and a new buys in these lists, that's where I find them. So let's take a look. I haven't even seen this stock symbol, but we have Canadian Pacific Railway. Let's take a look at that. Let's see what kind of stock this is. Okay, so this is somewhat established. And we have 2.4 million shares purchased in the fourth quarter. So that's interesting to see here on Canadian Pacific. Let's go to the next one, SAFM. Let's see if this is that's got some established, so that's got some established history to it. But they rolled into 500,000 shares. So 500,000, that's over this fourth quarter period here. Okay, interesting to see. But new positions in Microsoft, KSU, another transportation to go along with their Canadian Pacific. Oh, wow, that's nice. So you can see this buy quarter three. So you see them, they bought in the third quarter. So this is Bill and Melinda Gates. Wow, they offloaded a ton. So quarter three, quarter four, that's interesting to see. All right. Okay, let's get to more of the active stuff. I like this. It helps bring up certain data sets. This next one is really a portfolio look on steroids. So I just had a class yesterday. We have, and I host weekly data updates, but this area is really an exciting place to live. So what we have is, rather than see large portion investments per individual Titan, now we have the data of individual transactions by day, by single day. So watch how interesting this data is. Now, today, you can see, that's how you read it, very simple. So on the 23rd, we had an investment for WRBY, which is Warby Parker. Total value of that purchase was $6.7 million. You can see the shares purchased, 240,000 shares. Okay, you see the share price, 28 bucks. You can see multiple investments for DUOL, Duolingo. This is another round. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Okay, you can see how these are all individual transactions that all occurred on the same day for that individual stock. There's also other days here over the last several weeks of also further investments into DUOL. 9.8 million shares. This is a takeoff stock potential trade here. This is a newer stock symbol. I never heard of it until I saw activity from the Titans. And I'm in the markets every single day. And I never heard of this stock prior to being told about it in the Titans, okay? But Duolingo, I'm gonna pull up the chart again. So now, instead of looking at a high level portfolio look, now we're gonna be looking at individual days and correlating that action to the set of data, okay? So now we've got, let me pull it up so you can see what I see. There we go. So now I've got the data table on the right, or on the left, excuse me, and then we're going to look at the stock symbols. Now, Duolingo is a takeoff stock, right? Meaning we don't have 24 months worth of data yet. So it doesn't have a long history, okay, in the terms of the stock market. Now, what you'll see, the common patterns when you take a symbol like this and then move to a chart, the pattern is you'll see bottoms. You'll see typical investments roll in heavily when bottoms are also shown on a chart. So that's why I always say that when there's a bottom, odds are there's a Titan trading on the bottom, okay? So this is just one day, which was yesterday, of course, which is right here, the 23rd. So I'm going to flag that so we have it in our back pocket. So here's the 23rd down here. Okay, so this investment, I'll just do an average. So due to being multiple prices, okay, looks like our average price, we'll just use rough average, we'll call it $88. Because some are smaller investments. So 87 sounds like a fair average. And I'm going to pop that there on the 23rd, okay? But there's been more trades than that, okay? There's been more activity than just that one day because I've been tracking this, okay? So not only is it just a day in the market. Now, what does $9.8 million worth? What does that really shape up against the average for Duolingo? Is that above average activity, below average activity, right? Well, in that given day, you know, we're calling, let's see, there's about 100,000 shares purchased on the 23rd, 100,000 shares. So if I just pop in a simple indicator and just show you what the average day looks like, you can see the impact of that day. So let's just type in a simple indicator here. And this is just a volume column below. So on the 23rd, you see the volume was 242,000 shares on the day, yesterday. These Titans made up 120, 40, 80, 110,000 shares. They made up half of the shares traded on an average day like that, right? So they made up a huge portion of the activity. No one else was there with them, right? You had a very small amount of people following that lead naturally through their trading. So I always want to see, was this a big day? Was it a small day? And compared to what actually took place, okay? I always find that insightful because if I go further back, you're going to see, let's just keep Duolingo in mind. Let's just group this for a second to make it easy. So all I've done is group this by stock. So let's go down to Duolingo. So there's actually been 22 transactions over the last month. We've got about a month worth of data here for you. 22 transactions, and when you open it up, you'll see all of the transactions listed out here. So we had a round of investing on the 28th. We had a round of investing on the 1st, another round on the 3rd, another round on the 7th, the 9th, and then again yesterday, the 23rd. So it's not just one time, you're seeing multiple investments into this specific stock symbols, and it's newer, right? So as we look at Duolingo on these dates, let me highlight these. 28th. You're going to see a very common. So 28th was down here. It's going to flag those. There's the 28th. Let's go to the 1st. That's how simple it can be, folks. You don't have to spend, this is not like you need to spend tons of time analyzing a chart because it's right here for us. They're doing all the research for us. Then you have the 7th, which is over here. We have the 9th, and then of course we have yesterday. So we'll put, there's small investment on the 9th. Where's the price? They have all of these investments. So if they bought in initially for about 8 million shares at 83 bucks, and then they bought more shares at 98, 97, 94 range, and then they bought more at 87. Do you think they believe in Duolingo's price going to go up or down, right? Do they think that value is higher? Well, how do you know the value is higher? Well, I know because we've been there before, right? So where the price has been, the price will go again. So you see that this stock price was up in the $200 range shortly after they were available on the stock exchange. Well, they went through a massive bearish run, and then you can see these bottoms created, right? There's this sign of a first bottom, Then you see rallies and buys that create these bottoms as well. You see this price action, another buy here yesterday. When I've seen this in the past, and I'll show you some recent examples here on the next example, they are typically building a strong base of investments at prices below the intrinsic value of that company. So these small ranges here, the upside to where we were, right, is 138%. But you have all of these other recent resistance levels where the market likes to go, especially after a double bottom. You're talking about a move up to 25% on the horizon. You've got another level of resistance here at 32%, another level up 61%. Next level above that is all the way up at 100%. So I enjoy understanding and seeing stocks like this because for the retail trader, most of the time, these are affordable stocks to get into. Most of the time. And that to me is what I love to see. So good solid bottoms forming. Other symbols that pop up at mass here recently has been this company, Asana. ASAN. Asana has seen $288 million worth of transactions. We had a round on the 18th, the 11th, and then the 4th, and then of course the 28th. Okay, so just in the last 30 days, you're talking $1 billion of transactions. Okay, so Asana's up on the board. Let's take a look at Asana. Asana is also one of those newer stock symbols on the exchange. This is around September 2020. Software company, project management, if you don't know what it is. Here in the arrows are the 4 recent transaction types. So $288 million. Okay, so we are with today, we're back down to this 49. Oh, I love seeing that. $49 level. Okay. So if we use the back in time machine for a moment, this is what we look for. So when I see a stock have multiple transactions, I go to the chart just like I did here. Very simple. I just want to know the timing because I'm knowing what are they trading, Asana. I see when they trade it. Now I'm going to give you how to trade the data. And we're going to keep it simple. I have other ways to do it. We're going to keep it simple. It's still powerful, but it's very simple. What I want to look for is a double bottom. I want to see 2 bottoms to then look for the next entry. Okay, so I want to confirm that this is a bottom buy scenario. Bottom buys are typically found with double bottoms patterns. So that's the 28. How much of it? Well, there was 80, I think it's or 60 million shares or dollars worth, right? So $61 million was a total transaction on the 28th for Asana. That total of shares, 41,000. So we're talking I mean, it's got to be 400,000 or 500,000 shares, maybe more than that. So we'll call it 150,000 share, or no, 1 million shares, right? 1 million shares on the 28th. So as we get the first inclination here, this is what the double bottom looks like here. There's another investment on the 4th, right? Here's all the 4th. Same thing here on the 4th. We had 60 million shares again, $60 million worth of transactions. Okay, equal investment size. Now watch what happens to this stock. Now another investment on the 11th, right? Another round of investment on February 11th. That's 79 million worth. Here's another round. 18th of February. These Titans rolled up again. Another 88 million. Total 288 million, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, in that window from the initial buy of 60 million, when as high as 63%, they haven't sold out yet. We'd see if they sold out, okay? Remember, they usually hold it for months, not days or weeks. 63% up in a short window. Now, from a swing trader's perspective, right, the whole time is a few weeks. Would you know what to do with this data, right? If you saw it pop up, you saw this price, you were with us in class, we said, here's a buying opportunity. In 19 days, 63% on the stock. It's optionable. You could trade options too with this. I actually teach options as well. You could take the option on the swing trade. Say you put 10 grand into Asana to follow. It's not quite 120 million that they put into it, right? Just because we don't have billions of dollars to manage doesn't mean our portfolios don't mean just as much to us, right? So say it was 10 grand, maybe it was 20 grand, maybe it was 5 grand, maybe it was 3,000. 65% in 19 days on a stock where we didn't have to do all the research for. We simply had the data, looked at it, and then followed the lead of the Titans. That's all we did. 63%. Now, maybe you're holding it long term. That's fine too, right? So when I come to where we are now and I see us at the same price here, here is a trading opportunity for everybody in attendance today. We have Asana on a buy opportunity. I would look for this to break and close above the previous high tomorrow. And if it does, then I'm in. Where am I going to trade it to? 74.59, this previous high. Very simple strategy, double bottom buy. Now we have a third opportunity to get in. So if you missed the first one, you had a second opportunity. You missed the second opportunity, you have another opportunity at the same price. So do you think they still like it? Do you think they still like Asana at 50 bucks? I think so, because they bought even more, right? They bought even more at $65. So if you think about that, the gap in which they bought it at between the 50 up to, let's say, the $62, $65 mark is 35%. So do they at least believe it's worth $65? I think so, because they literally not only talked about it, they actually walked the talk, right? They actually made the transactions. Money talks. They made the transaction, right? It's like going to the store like we have to do with inflation where it is. I love smoking brisket. 3-4 months ago, it was about 20-30% cheaper than what it is now. But if I want brisket bad enough, I'm going to pay more for it, right? That's the same concept here. I loved it at 50. I still loved it at 65. It's back down to 50. At a minimum, we've got a move from $50 to $65. That's 35%. A swing trader, that's perfect, because on an option, that's over 3 digits on an option trade if you want to trade the option. And if you don't know how to trade options, I'll teach you how to trade options. Don't worry about that. If you're new to trading, don't worry about that. I'll take you by the hand and teach you how to trade in the markets. That's the easier part of this. The simple side of executing data, right? I've seen so many programs. I've been doing this since 2007. And I've seen so many programs available to you, to retail traders. I've sold, promoted, created, serviced, and hosted several different types of programs out there. This data and the cost of this program is going to blow your mind, because I've been around long enough, and I know that we here can provide more bang for the dollar invested than all of these other programs you see. There's lots of programs that will bring you into an event like this, right, and say, come in and learn that one stock that's going to make your portfolio amazing for 2022, right? Come in and see this one trade that's going to change your life. How many of you seen invitations like that? Type in an ME, me, if you've seen that. How many of you seen invitations like that, right? Anybody heard those before? Read those types of invitations? Yeah. You know, lots of them say, always me, right? That one trade, right? Come in and get that one trade. Yeah. I was a chief revenue officer for one of the largest financial education and trading technology companies at the time. So I know what it's like. And once I went independent in 2018, I never looked back. I enjoy being able to provide phenomenal content without all of the fluff, I guess you could say, all the fluff that comes with some of the other stuff. Now, there's lots of great traders in this space. Some of them I have very strong relationships just because of how long I've been in the space, and I respect their work. They do phenomenal trading, phenomenal coaching, but I like to make things a little bit more affordable for people. Sure enough. Yeah, pump and dump is there too. Yeah, it's just not interested in that. So that's why I know one thing, following the Titan data, they're not dumping much. You know, we've seen some shorts. Obviously, they're selling at key pivot points in the market, but they're not getting out tomorrow. The market caps that they invest in, you and I cannot move those. You know, we can't move those prices. No matter how big we think we are or how much money we think we have, we're not stacking up against the trillions of dollars that are traded in the financial markets. We're a small drop in the proverbial bucket, right? So rather than fight upstream, let's turn around and ride downstream. Why not, right? Good question. What about, yeah, the newbies on YouTube. No idea what they're doing. Yep. I got a good question from Sailor. How do you play earnings? Well, it's all down to how you're going to trade it. So earnings on the 9th is, to me, far enough out. Okay. This isn't earnings tomorrow. So I'm going to put my swing trading hat on. Okay. I'm going to put my swing trading hat. So I love to trade options, but just classic calls puts. I don't get into any complex multi-leg stuff. So price action, which you see here, chart price movement, price action, is driven by momentum, period. Without transactions, there's no price movement. If we all around the world stop trading this moment, everybody put your keyboard down. No trading. Everybody stop. You institutional trader, stop trading. Stop trading for 5 minutes. Everybody take a 5-minute break. The price won't move. It won't move at all. The market will literally stay at the price it's at, period. Remember I talked about the shutdown, 15 days of flatten the curve back in February, where we actually had the market shut down. They had to take a pause, right? Halt trading. The price didn't move, right? So trading activity drives price action, period. It's how the market works. So when we look at earnings, the time to earnings, right, how far that distance is, has a correlation to if that earnings is built in. Because what people do is they'll go, oh, earnings, let me guess here. Let's see, the reported earnings that they should hit is 10 cents. Okay, well, I think it's actually going to come out better. Why? I don't know, because I feel like it, or I have some insight, maybe I have some insider knowledge, right? You don't know until you know, except the CFO, who knows, right? And the CEO, they know what that number is. But ultimately, people start to bake in a lot of times leading up to that earnings. They try to get into position, right? That's usually about a 24, 48-hour window, okay? When you start to see that, being the fact that we're about 10 days, 15 days out, it's not quite baked in yet. So to me, it's normal trading. So as long as I'm not up against it, I'm not worried about it. 9 out of 10 times, if we're in a pattern like this on a double bottom level, we're going to be well into a position, meaning the price is more than likely on the pattern going to be higher. So if there is a pullback, it won't impact us because we're already in the position already. Okay. But I teach that, so I'll explain that in a second. So it's not just data here. Okay. There's massive education inside of this program already built to teach you the data, teach you the concepts of how the Titans think. And I'll tell you now, a lot of people are asking. The Titan Investors Club, we're in an open enrollment period right now. We had our first open enrollment session on Sunday of this week. Today's our last open enrollment event for this quarter. So we're not gonna have another enrollment for the quarter for this club. The club, you're gonna see, is only $787. So, like I said a few minutes ago, I've been around the block long enough to provide this data. Because we have access to hundreds and hundreds of clients, we're able to pass the savings on to you. So we don't have this huge bill up front to charge to cover all the fluff. We don't have a lot of fluff. So we pass the savings on to you. So don't worry about cost. I know a lot of you thinking like, man, this is amazing. What is this going to be like? 5,000, 9,000, 2,000, right? It's not. But it's only, this open enrollment period does end on Sunday. Okay, so I just want to be upfront with you. It's not a forever thing. The reason why is because we take our clients, our club members, through a journey over the next 12 months. So I like to start on a quarterly basis with a group of people all at once. So that way, as we teach and build, we're all on the same track. Okay, so it's not a random thing. You know, I don't have somebody that just started here and then somebody that's been with us for 2 years. Okay, that would just somebody's going to be left out in that conversation. So we have set enrollment periods, and like I said, this Sunday closes this enrollment period for this quarter. Okay, so you have to wait till next quarter. All right, but that's what it looks like. Yeah, good one, Sailor. So it looks like a butterfly for March. That could be it too. Butterflies, yeah. But to me, it's what's got an opportunity to move, right? That's what we look for. That movement is created by price action. Well, now we have a lens inside of the world of these titans of trading. And so it helps to me really align my focus. Just like I talked about sectors down, right? Now I'm looking at Titans Club. What are the Titan clubs doing? Where are they at in the marketplace? And it's not a one transaction, right? Like some of these are one. Let me show you. It's like Apollo. So here's one, Apollo Global Management. Never heard of it, but there was one investment. It was $92,000. Now that's a lot of money if it's all relative, right? That's a lot of money, $92,000. But it's definitely not 288 million, right? I don't even know what Apollo's doing. Like I said, never heard of it. So the more I see, the more energy I see behind a specific stock symbol, the more excited I get, right? Just like a retail trader, we don't want to be alone. We don't want to be the only one trading something. That's not a pleasant place to be. When that happens, we're typically not at the right time. If you ever bought something that's been running hot, and the next day you buy it and it's flat, and you're left going, hey, where's everybody at? It's like walking into a party and you walk in and no one's at the party with you. It's lonely. Well, when we're trading and we want to find those moves in 2, 3, 4 weeks, right? That type of breakout move that's shorter than Titans, but gives us opportunity to profit. We don't want to be alone. That's the last thing you want to do, right? So here, I want to see multiple transactions. Now, if you're into this, that's fine. You know, there's a trade for Apollo, but I'm looking at big investments. Here's one, AMPL, $49 million. What's the stock price here? $20? Okay, let's take a look at that one. That might be a new one. You guys are getting, oh, that's a new one. Look at this thing. Amplitude. So this is all on the 23rd. So all of these, I mean, that's a lot of transactions, right? That's 22 transactions yesterday for AMPL. Average share price looks around, I mean, there's so many transactions. You got some $17, $20. Wow. That's a takeoff stock potential. I mean, look at these. I mean, just the value coming out of the exchange being listed, you're talking 75% to the previous high, but you have all these smaller highs here that we were just at. I mean, that's holy cow. So big gap short, but you've seen we established somewhat of a bottom here. I mean, we can't get below this $20 level, $18 price level here. Massive volume, and then you see a rush. See, this is where, holy cow, that's a lot of shares that made up a large portion of that portfolio there. Wow. On the 23rd, there was 2.4 million shares. I mean, this has got to be, there's a million there. Almost all the shares, almost all the shares purchased. These Titans rolled up heavy here. And we were just at $40. So they hit all their earnings too, right? Maybe they're getting bought out. I don't know. But I know the Titans have a lot of excitement around this stock. I hope you guys are taking notes on these symbols. I mean, you can see, you can take these 1, 2, or 3. My traders are going to be having this every week. Every week we update. You have all this new data every week. We come into a room just like this. I've got an entire training area where I've got trading checklists. We go through the market together. We identify trades together. But I have no problem, you pull these symbols and monitor them, trade them whenever you want. I'm transparent. I showed it to you. Feel free to use it, okay? Does everybody understand the concept of what we're doing? Type in a yes if this makes sense. The data to trading. Type in a yes if that makes sense. How many of you know what to do with the data? Maybe that's a better question. This is just more of an experience question, not a challenging question in a negative sense. Yeah, no worries. If cost is prohibitive, then just wait for the right time. Yeah, so here's the, so I got some good ones. That was a good comment. So Walton says yes-ish, right? What to do with the data. And that's fair. So I've realized that as we've gone through this, people at different experience levels have different strategies. Some are working for you, some are not. To me, you're here for a reason. Maybe you're curious to see what the portfolio's at. That's a reason to be here. Maybe a reason is you're not where you want to be in your financial success yet. Maybe that's your reason. Maybe you've seen me before and you're like, hey, what is Matt up to? Okay, that's normal. That's why I recognize a lot of people here. And then some of you, you're really looking for a way to become successful. You've seen all the different ways to make money in the financial markets. Maybe you've tried a couple, you worked with other companies, maybe you follow different people out there in the space. There's so many different ways people try to conquer their goals in the financial markets. Someone like me who's worked with thousands of people, all walks of life, all experience levels, I get it. I mean, I've had to learn 50 analogies to get one point across, right? But ultimately, you're here for a reason. And you may have different experience levels. So knowing that, with the program itself, I also include on top of that what I call my Empowerment Toolbox. So if you don't have a strategy that works for you and you don't know how to apply this data, if I said there's $500 million purchased on Microsoft, and when the price breaks at this price point, we're going to buy in. In fact, we're going to trade the option. So I'm going to give you a stock setup. I'm also give you the option setup if you want to take it. Okay. So if you don't know what that means or how to take that information, then you're going to love the Empowerment Toolbox, because I break down a method of trading called the momentum breakout. Okay. It's my method. Use it for 15 years. Works phenomenally well for me. And I also coach others how to use it. But it's there. So if you don't know how to use the data, I'm going to help support you and teach you that strategy. Very simple but powerful. So rest at ease if you're just not quite sure or you're just not confident in what you're currently doing to apply this data. The show and tell was, I wanted to really have a moment with you to talk about, though we're in a bearish move and though it may feel, you may feel high levels of anxiety, I want you to flip it around. Of course, if you know, I'm not discounting the human impact. I'm just removing that, right? I said, let's remove the subjective emotions out of this for a second. Let's talk objectively. So my heart goes out to everyone impacted for sure. Transition to this objectiveness is understanding that there is a investment, and then we want to be focused on return on investment. The club stacked up against anything you've seen in the market is well below the market price at $787 for an entire year of this. Okay, and I'll explain what you get in a second in more detail. But to me, I find that unless you have a strong base to build on, this is going to be too high level. You're not going to quite be able to actually use it to the full degree. So that's why I bolt on top of this at no charge to you, because I want to help you, is I add the Empowerment Toolbox, which is a huge library catalog built out with checklists and strategy, so you can evaluate trend direction, you know how to understand how to enter the market, how to exit the market, how to use stop losses, how to forecast future price, how to trade options if you're not familiar with it. So entirely laid out so you have an actual blueprint plan to follow. And if you're trading and you're interested in maybe learning some new stuff that I have, then you'll have it too, okay? But I just want to let you know, so if you're not sure, just rest at ease. We won't leave you to the lurch, okay? So inside of this, right, the data is awesome. So AMPL, I'm going to wait for a breakout pattern to emerge, and I'm going to jump on AMPL. I'm going to jump on Asana. It's at 50 bucks. I already saw all the hundreds of millions of dollars on Asana. Your exit strategy, if you don't have one, when you sign up, you're going to have access to learn how to exit, okay? But for those that know how to use the data, we have a phenomenal entry price at 50 with massive upside, right? Just those two alone are awesome opportunities based on the price action that we're at. But there's a whole lot more, and I could spend the next 2 hours with you all, but I know time is valuable to everybody, okay? But this data is amazing. We can do so much with it, and we teach you it all, right? 142 million on INCY, if you want to write that symbol down, INCY. 202 million for MGM Resorts. Let's see, PennyMac, 33 million. PFSI. Warby Parker, 108 million. 35 transactions in the last month for Warby Parker. That's a very solid business. I learned about them at a Dreamforce conference about 6-7 years ago. Warby Parker, okay? So I have no problem getting this out, because guess what? Next week, we'll have a whole nother list next week of all these major transactions. So I do want to give you that gift. So if you know what you're doing with it, you can add those to your little watch list, and hopefully you can make some money here. But if you want to see this data every single week over the next 52 weeks, then let me take 5 minutes and just walk through the program and what you get for that 787. And if you see the opportunity, then you can take advantage of it. And if you don't, then that's fine. That's fine too, okay? But ultimately, I think when you see what comes with it, it's going to be a no-brainer. And if you're in the financial market, $787, though some people may be out of reach for, right? Ultimately, the majority of you will have the ability to do that, okay? So let's go through this real quick. I already have questions coming in about what comes with it. And we'll wrap up. All right, let me get it up here for us. All right, so the first thing here is I never expect anyone to be 100% confident that this is going to work for you. I think it's impossible to have that in just an hour, okay? So we are willing to put our money where our mouth is. Okay, just as I explained earlier about walking the talk, when you see $200 million come into Asana, that's walking the talk. Well, we're going to walk the talk too. So there's no fluff behind this. I already told you about that whole story. But you don't have to be committed today because you don't really understand how it's going to work for you until you actually get your hands on it. And that is reasonable. That is 100% fair. And I appreciate that. Knowing that, we put this guarantee out there to make it less risky on you to go through it and really understand the value. So for the first 30 days, all we ask is if at any point throughout that 30-day period, you find that this is not working for you, if you're not getting the value that you expected, then just let us know, email or via our support ticket system, whatever is best for you. Just let us know within the first month. If you do that, no questions asked on our part, we will issue you 100% of your money back, 100% of it. There's no admin fee, there's no processing fee, there's not a laundry list of stuff that you have to do or show us, right? You don't have to come, oh, here's my trading account, guys. I've done that. That is not a fun place to be from our end. So learned a long time ago, if someone doesn't want to be with you, it's best to part as friends than become combative with small print. Okay, I'm a trader and I'm a trading coach. I'm not a guaranteed coach, meaning I'm not going to sit here and try to argue about a guarantee, make sure that you've done all these steps. It's just not best for me nor best for you. So 100% of your money back. So there's no risk in this if you want to give us that 30 days to really see. Every week we go through meetings just like this today, 100% focus on data and implementation of the strategies. So you're going to know very quickly. The data is there right now when you sign up. It's instantly available to you. So the program itself is going to be $787. I've already mentioned that to you. You're going to have 8 full-length video module training sessions. You're going to have access to the Titans portfolio data. That's the live data that we update every single week. So every week, we upload them on Mondays. Then we have a meeting with me live on Mondays at 12 o'clock Eastern time. We had one yesterday. So we take the data, we break it down into pieces, and then we go to the charts and we set up a game plan for those, just like we did today for Asana, just like we did today for AMPL. But we do that in more detail for about an hour, hour and a half every Monday. So we have the data dump. Then I have the live webinar. So if you want to have help in dissecting the data, then you come watch us. You can't make it live, watch the recording. So every single week I'm with you live, just like this. You're going to have access to the top 20 lifetime library. So that's where we have all of the Titans, and you can see all the portfolio, the history, the activity, the buys, the sells. You see all of that. You're also going to have access to the club reports. So the club report section, to me, is where you get the insight to the actual Titan thinking, the mindset. We break down all of their rules. So remember, we started off the event talking about that the market goes down, right? The markets go down, they go up, right? That's where we talked about all of the different bear markets, 18 out of 100, right? This area, the reports you get, there's actually a bonus, so there's actually 6. There's about 1,000 pages worth of data here. So Investing Secrets of Warren Buffett, profit calculations. This is a powerful book, the Titans 100X rule. Okay, so that's 100% returns. So that's a breakdown of the formulas of how they go find that. Laws of Investing Success from Sir John Templeton, phenomenal reading. This is my favorite. If I have to pick one, it's this one, 39 Investing Secrets of the Titans of Our Day. And then you have the Titan Investors Awareness Guide. They all are here to give you insights behind the scenes into this Titan. So in essence, we've gone out and gone through all of the Titans and all of their library of content, from articles to interviews, any type of books that they've written, and pulled out the top pieces and built this conglomeration here in front of you. So you're going to have access to these. We have on slate, we already have 17 more reports that we're going to be releasing throughout the year. that there's no charge to you. We're just going to load them up as we get more, but this is a lot to start with. But if you really want to understand behind the scenes of how they tick, you're going to love these reports, and you have access to as long as you're an active member, then you're going to have access to come in and get the latest report. So we'll let you know when the latest report comes up, and you're going to have full access to it. This next section, 5 to Thrive. So this is where we get into Warren Buffett. I think Sir John Templeton's in here. So this is just like our top 20, but we have the top favorite Titans in here. Okay. So you're also going to have their portfolios. So in total, you're running about 26, 27 different Titan portfolios. And then in here, you're going to have your Club Program Investors Toolkit. So inside of the modules, we teach on how to scale your portfolio. Things like, how do you know what to buy, when to buy it, and how to buy it? So we have module training, and then we have corresponding checklists, as well as spreadsheets, calculators in essence, to help you manage like a Titan. So it's not just training and data, it's also corresponding checklists and strategy documents, so you can actually track and monitor your performance. The scaling, to me, is really important of when to scale, how to scale. So that's found in our Investors Toolkit. You're also going to include it, right? So that's where we get the majority of the content. And then on top of that, you get the Titan Investors Club Live Weekly trading room experience. So that's with me every week. So 52 weeks, you'll be with me, 12 o'clock on Mondays. So we start the week off with a game plan for what's come out. On top of that, we also have a quarterly meeting. The quarterly meeting is where we go through a deep dive in all of the portfolio updates that happen, right? So we look for overlap, convergences across all of the Titans. So that's a longer event because we're digging deep through the top 20 Titans, right? But all of that is included for just $787. Amazing content, of course, amazing price with all that we give you, okay? Plus, as I mentioned, you're going to get the Empowerment Toolbox. This is access to all of the different strategies that I deploy. So you're not left trying to figure out how to apply this on your own to your strategy. If you don't have one, or if you want to learn a new strategy, then you can follow along with mine, which is based upon momentum. Okay, so I trade a lot of options. So I also have options checklists found there as well. So just to show you what you have in store, so you get a sense for it. This Empowerment Toolbox is packed with, I think it's 11 hours of content if you add them up. 11 hours of content around the strategy itself. Okay, so the toolbox you're going to have access to with this as a bonus. Trading checklists, so you know precisely how to trade them. We trade a conservative bullish, a conservative bearish, aggressive bullish, aggressive bearish. So you have the checklist. We use TradingView, so we have filters and setups to use. And then we have bonus lessons of how to set trades on autopilot. So I'll show you how that works. Then we have strategy lessons. So if you, once again, don't have a strategy and you need one, I promise you this is the most simple, from what people tell me, the most simple yet powerful way to trade. You can be the judge of that. And in correspondence, there's about 11 hours of trading teaching here that you have access to, all up and down the board. So I don't want you to be left at the lurch. I want you to make sure that you understand a process and a plan of attack to take advantage of the data. So we're going to make sure that you have all of that access to get where you need to be, all for one price. Okay. Now, as mentioned to you, I want to make sure that you're not all left alone. So we're also going to provide you 2 special bonuses. Number 1, I'm going to give you access to my quick start options training. So that way you understand, if you're new to options, how to actually deploy an options trade, how to read option chains, how to understand the option Greeks, how to break down how to select the right expiration, how to set up contingent trigger order types. I exclusively trade that method. So even if you're an experienced trader, I recommend you watch that. That'll change your life. Contingent trigger order types. Make your life so much easier. And then, of course, we have our checklists that go with options trading. Okay, so you're going to have that special bonus. Now, I love teaching, as you can probably tell, and I love working with people in a more intimate setting more frequently. So what I want to give each and every one of you as a special bonus for signing up is I'm going to give you an additional ticket to join me twice a week live in my Market Pro Live Club. So it's Mondays at 7, Thursdays at 12, exception today, it's tomorrow. But this is where I'm with you live, breaking down the market, number one goal. Number two, you walk away with an expectation of what to look out for in the next couple days. The reason why is because we're looking for swing trades, we're looking for breakouts. So we don't have to look months out, we're looking days out. So I break down the strategies found in my toolbox that you get, the Empowerment Toolbox. That's what we use in these sessions. So we have something to build on, and then I apply it to you live twice a week. So if you add up the support with me alone and the webinars and support, you've got the Mondays at 12 for the Entitled Investors Club data. This is on top of that. This is a program that sits over top of all of what I offer, and this provides an open environment. It's a webinar just like this, with the end goal is to identify trading opportunities, know what to expect over the next couple of days, and then teach, right? If a trade presents itself, we trade in the room too, okay? So you'll see the process of applying the strategies that I use with actual trading as well, okay? But this, I find, is really important to stay on top of the market as we're moving throughout the next year together, right? So you're gonna have a year of this on me because I want you to have as much in front of you to achieve the success. Now, if you're already with me, that's fine. You already know the drill, but for this is for those that are new to us, of course. I want to give this bonus away as well, okay? So now you're getting everything listed, plus you're gonna get Market Pro Live on top of that for an entire year, and of course the toolbox. So at this point, you can clearly see we've got lots of value for you for a low price to make it affordable. We understand what's happening in the world today. The reason I'm able to offer this is because we have hundreds and hundreds of people that follow us. So I'm able to, we're able to offer a low price like this. So I'm looking forward to it. All you have to do to sign up, it's very simple, is go to the TitanInvestorsClub.com. So it's Titan, just like you see it in front of you, Titan Investors Club, plural club, and that will take you to our checkout page. So TitanInvestorsClub.com is the place to go. I'll type it in here so you have it. It will take you right to this page. Sailor, good question. That data is pulled from the transactions of the Titans. So that's not a filter of ours. We're finding the data, scrubbing the data, locating large transactions by Titan investors, and that's where that data comes from. So we're literally following and virtually looking over the shoulder as they are pushing the buy button. That's where the data is coming from. Yeah, data is based on volume of investment. Certainly it improved my investment. Yep, 100%. Yeah, no worries, Taylor. Yeah, so I've got a question. Just have an MT4 platform and a broker, but never done stocks properly. Yeah, well, we do that all day long. So no worries there. We'll help you fill in the gap. Yeah, so typically I buy options. So I'm on the options buy side. Our method is that we short level method here on what we do in the room is that we identify stocks poised to break out. Once we have the stock identified, we drill down to find the appropriate option chain to buy. So we start at the stock level, then we jolt to the option. Most people just look at options only. To me, it's easier to find the breakout stock and then find the option that is best fit, right? So give you all the criteria that I use. You could try it out and see if it helps you, but that's our method. So stock breakout, then we go down and find the option trade. That's how I teach it, and that's what we do in the room. But everyone can trade the stock, they can do the option, whatever's most comfortable for them. Yeah, so the website, I'll type it in here so you have it. Titan Investors Club. So TitansInvestorsClub.com is the checkout page. It'll take you right there. And remember, you've got the 30-day guarantee. You know, I've done this too long, and I appreciate the fact that this may be the first time you're doing this. You know, who knows what life throws at us, right? This goes out to predicting the future, statistical analysis, deviations to the mean type stuff. The farther we go out into the future, the less is known, right? I mean, that's just natural. So the less is known, the farther we go out. So ultimately, what's in front of us is what we know best, right? The most probable thing that's going to happen is what's happening right now. You're with me live, and you're going to this website and you're signing up. That's what you know right now. You may know what you're going to do in the next hour. Hopefully you're starting to read some of these reports, right? But the farther we go out, let's say next week, you have a fairly good understanding of what you're going to get next week, right? Well, what about 6 months from now, right? What about a year from now? Okay, it gets fuzzier the farther we go out in essence. And so that's why I want to make sure that you know that this is not a forever commitment yet. Just give it a month. Okay, give it 30 days. If it's not for you, then let us know. We'll give you 100% of your money back. Okay, so for the people in the room that have been in this space, you know this is a phenomenal price. Remember, this ends on Sunday, and then we're done for this quarter. We won't be around probably till the middle to the end of next quarter. The reason it's simple, once again, I want to make sure people start at the same times so we have a general track to build upon and grow. So that's why you see the data here starts in January, because we started to ramp up into this enrollment period. So we had our first one Sunday, this is our last one. So if you have more questions, when you go to TitansInvestorsClub.com, it'll redirect you. So it's just a shortened link, so it's easy to remember, easy to type. It'll redirect you to a website. You have all the details I walked you through today and more. It's a lot on the page. So if you want to read more about it, do so. But in the middle, there's red buttons throughout. You can click that. I'll take you to the checkout page. Okay. There's a PayPal option too if you need PayPal, I believe. So, but you're gonna get all of this plus the bonus of the trading room, my Market Pro Live Club. You'll get the weekly Titan Investors Club meetings. That's 3 a week. Plus you're getting my Empowerment Toolbox on top of it. So plenty of opportunities within that 30-day period. I think you're gonna love it. If you understand what we're doing and why it's so powerful, then it's a no-brainer. If you're not sure, the simplicity of this is when we see Bill Gates Foundation, Bill Ackman, Bill Nygren come in heavy on a stock, we see it. So we have the ability to ride the coattails of the top investors in the space. That's essentially what this is. Now, you can learn all about the Titans. We have all the reports, all the different studies, video content around the psychology of these Titans, how they think, how they operate, how they trade. So if you want to dig deep, you can dig as deep to your heart's content. It'll take you hours and hours of time reading through this if you want. Most people print out the reports and they download them so that they can read them and take notes, right? Some of you just want the data. That's up to you, right? Maybe you want the data now and you want to learn it later. That's fine too. You're gonna have access to the whole thing. Okay, for one small price, $787. I'm gonna read some questions here if you don't mind, and if there's any. Oh, Sailor says Asana is up $1.25 since you first talked about it. I'm telling you, it looks like a solid bottom. I mean, I'm not even telling you. The Titans are telling us. I'm commentating based on what they've done. So it was just $100 a few months ago. That's a double your money trade on just a stock. You know, if you're a swing trader, there's going to be plenty of swings up the line to that level. But yeah, no worries. When you have the cash, you'll be jumping on. Okay, fantastic. Good question. What is my win rate? The good news is you're not following my win rate. You're following the Titans. So the Titans themselves, it's a portfolio growth conversation, not necessarily a percentage, you know, like win rate conversation. So we are mirroring the Titans trades. We teach in the modules the different various ways to trade the data, leverage the data. Then we bolt on the Empowerment Toolbox to teach you methods of actually having an entry exit strategy. If you want to buy the stock, maybe you want to trade options, that's where that Empowerment Toolbox comes over top to help add and fill the holes in the program. If you're active, it's an active program. So it's not the Market Pro Live Club is not a monthly trading set. I mean, I'm looking at months and months in advance. We're talking about swing trades. So that's a swing trading room that we stay on top of every single week. So yeah, good question here. So the quarterly meetings are done the first Tuesday of the quarter end. Okay, so we'll get you the schedule. You're automatically registered for all the events, so you don't have to do anything. So just make sure, go to the website now. It's a no-brainer. Give it 30 days. You've been in the market. You've been here long enough. You understand the concept of follow the money. I hope you do, right? Follow the money. This is following the money. So go to that site. When you're done, tell me you're in. Type it in the question section. Say I'm in. I in. Right? I'm in. I'd love to just follow up. I'm going to see all the people that say I'm in. So that way I can double check on the back. I just want to make sure everything's perfect for you. I never expect anyone to have any issues. Rarely have anybody that has any issues getting in and logging in, but I always like to just double check. I'm with you live, might as well take a peek. So once you're done checking out, come back in and just say I'm in, and then I'll see you in class on Monday. Okay. But great timing. You've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning to go through the content. Try to get as deep as you can into the modules. So that way, when you come to our session on Monday, you're ready to rock, and you can bring some of those questions that you may have, and we'll break down this week's trading. Okay. So great timing. It's Thursday. I know lots happening in the world today, but remember, we want to be able to buy. If you liked Facebook at 400, it's at 200 now, right? Or what 190, right? If we see a surge of rush there, then that means we're not alone and we have Titan money behind us. That's where we want to be. We want the money of the Titans building our base for us. That's what we're doing. You know, just like Sailor said, Asana's up $1.25 since we talked about it, right? We want base. We want large investments holding us up, holding the price of our trades up, right? That's the insights we're getting. Everything else, all the bonuses are there to help you stay on top of it throughout the week with us, okay? Yeah, no worries, Sailor. Yeah, I know that group, Sailor. Yeah, nothing wrong with that group at all. I mean, ultimately, this is different than what they have, and that's what it comes down to, you know. And different to me is good as long as it works, right? So if you've been in this space, you know, some people go through multiple companies until they find the right one. To me, it comes down to personality most of the time. Most of the success that I've seen as people start going through the round of buying, you know, education, you could be buying systems, you could be buying trading signal services. I like to combine most of those into one program. That's what this is. Okay, so you get signals in the sense of data from trading activity from the Titans. So that's kind of like a signal alert type of program. You get education as well. Okay, so it's signals, education, and then you get live trading room support with me. So that's an all-in-one type of approach that I find best fits versus trying to sell you this, sell you that, and sell you this other thing. We only maintain a handful of products because we want to maintain our no fluff attitude. So, to me, personality is a big differentiator. How someone teaches, how they think, how they communicate. Are they energizing you, or are they not? Do you understand the concepts clearly and quickly, and are they easily applied, right? Much of that has to do with communication and personality more so than the tactic itself. A lot of traders do a lot of good things in the market. A lot of trading experts are phenomenal. And for me, I always give them the benefit of the doubt that they do have successful track records, but ultimately, can they teach you to do what they do? And do you like doing it? You know, if you've made it this far, we've been together well over an hour, almost 2 hours now. Time flies when you're having fun. If you lasted this long, then I think we have a good personality match to listen to me talk for 2 hours, right? But, you know, I obviously enjoy this, and you could tell by how long I didn't even realize how long we're here, and I do apologize if you had somewhere else to be. But that's expectations for me, is that I'm going to go until we're done. So if there's a lot going on, I imagine tomorrow when I'm in my Market Pro live session, it's probably going to be longer than normal because there's a lot of stuff that we've got to break down to provide confidence, right? And that's what it's about. Even in a bearish market, I want you to be confident. So I would say, being biased, you should sign up and give this 30 days. Based on your question, Sailor, you should go sign up and give me 30 days. If it's not for you, it is literally as simple as typing an email or going to our support desk and saying, Matthew, I appreciate it. I learned some things, but I don't see myself doing this long term. I would like my money back. And then we're going to say, okay, 100% of your money back. No, we'll part as friends. I like to part as friends always. So it's very simple. You know, I don't want you to leave, but if you do have to leave, then that's fine. Just let us know within the first 30 days. Yep, no worries. Yep, no worries, Charles. We'll see you when you're ready. Yep, Walt, appreciate it. Yep, I recognize it. Yeah, fantastic. So we've got Judy. Judy's in. We've got lots of ladies joining. I love that. So we've got Jessica as well. Paul's with us. Paul's in. So when I call you out, that means I've cross-checked and I'm seeing that you've gone all the way through. You should be receiving your welcome emails. If I miss your name, type it in again because there's a few to go through here. We've got Walter D. I've got you in here as well. We've got Brian S. We got Joshua T. is in. Looking forward to having you as well. Pamela's with us. We've got Dennis with us. Dennis is in. He's joining the club. Yeah, appreciate that comment. I do have a passion. Yep, thank you for that. I like to have fun no matter what, you know, the market throws at us. At least we should be able to enjoy ourselves while we do it. Let's see, we've got Patrick with us. Mike W with us. He's in. A lot came in, so if I missed you, just type it in again. No worries. Kathleen's with us. Perfect. We've got David L. Yep, David L. Okay, is in. Okay, fantastic. So it looks like we've got, and if I miss you, I apologize. A lot came in all at one time. But I do got to wrap up. You know, at some point, you know, we just got to take action. I don't think I can talk about it much more or provide any other reasoning other than with one final thought, I guess, effectively is, look, you know, do not let fear overtake your decision making. We've got to be able to remove emotions. Fear, greed, we've got to be able to put them aside. How I have found to put them aside in myself personally, as well as coaching others, is to be as objective as possible. So when I see an investment of $787 that's in front of me, I want to know what's the potential return on that investment. Okay, well, if I go back and look at the opportunities that have already happened, right? When I showed you Asana, just 13 trading days go up 65 or 35%, right? That's ROI. When I see us in a bearish market today due to what's happening in Eastern Europe, when I see a lot of stocks on discount, that means it's a disconnection. The value of the company is still there. The only reason that price is down is due to external forces. It's nothing to do with the company. The company's still doing as great as it was yesterday. It's still doing as great and as valuable as it was 2 weeks ago. This fear has been building up over the last several weeks. We were in a breakout pattern to go bullish before this whole Eastern European thing happened. Literally. My traders in my rooms are making money because we're focused and isolated in certain pockets of the market that have been really hot, like energy. So we've been doing well in the energy sector, 500% almost in the beginning of the year. So you're going to see that opportunity in the trading. So you're not alone in this endeavor. We have people just like you who are wondering, thinking, is this going to work for me or not? But they took the chance. It's a small chance, small risk. The only thing at risk is time. Your time to go through it and evaluate over 30 days. My goal is to help you make money in 30 days. That's my goal for all my clients. So if you can invest the time, a few hours a week with us, then you should be signing up right now. Because the value proposition paired the Investors Club data, strategies taught in the lessons, paired with my live weekly sessions to help guide you through the trading opportunities so you're not left alone in the Titans Club. On top of that, you've got my twice a week live room to help you, to guide you, to give you other trading opportunities, trading strategies and tactics. I don't know how you can't be successful, but you have to be there, I guess. So if you can spend a few hours a week with us and you want to make money in the financial markets, especially now during this recent sell, you should be with us. Don't be alone. If you're with someone else, we're not married yet. Okay, we're dating. Let's date for the next 30 days. And if it works out, we'll be together another 11 months. I think it will. I'm very positive and optimistic that it will. But if something happens in life, you have a stopgap. You have a way to get out. You have a stop loss set. And that's your 30-day period. Okay, so 30 days, plenty of time. Don't worry about that to go through this and really evaluate. All right, but that's just my final thought. Don't let the fear in the market try to weigh on you. The best buying opportunities come after a bear market. We saw it after Corona, just in 2020. This is setting up just like the same timing too. Look, it's February. This was February 2020. So 24 months later, another bear move, big bear move. Well, what happened when we hit the bottom in April, right? Huge moves. Okay, don't miss out. Take advantage of it if you can. So with that, I'm going to say my farewells. I'm going to wish you nothing but the best. Stay healthy, stay happy, and as always, happy trading. Sign up if you're not ready this moment. Save the page, TitanInvestorsClub.com. Just make sure you sign up before Sunday. Sunday, this ends. We won't see you again for another quarter. Okay, so appreciate it all. Thank you for the time, and I will see you in our next event. Thank you.